You probably noticed that Y2K visuals have made a comeback and are influencing what we see in graphic design today. But recently I've noticed that the Y2K trend has evolved towards mainstream applications like consumer goods. And the way you can see this happening is by mixing elements from different time periods into some sort of practical new neo-brutalism plus Y2K plus futuristic design style. So today we're gonna try it. We're gonna make a Y2K inspired bubblegum packaging design in Kittl. And we're going to use the vibrant colors, fun fonts, and cartoony elements that bring that old back into the new. So let's start with some references that influence what our packaging design is going to look like. So here are 5 packaging designs I grabbed from Pinterest, and you can tell that they are all following this bubbly text style with super vibrant colors like pink and green, purple and yellow. They are all very loud, which makes sense because a lot of these brands like the bubblegum are marketed towards kids. Now let's look at some new modern examples that utilize the Y2K aesthetic, and you can see some similarities here as well. Crazy type, super vibrant colors, but there's a bit more structure to the design, and that's where that neo-brutalism style comes into play. Let's mix all of the references together here, and what we can see from the old to the new is that there is a merging of certain elements from old web design with retro cartoony elements, but they're using concepts of minimalism to let some of the design breathe. So with some of those references, let's get started with our own design in Kittl. All right, the first thing we're gonna do is work with our type. So I just hit the T button to quickly add some text in Kittl, which by the way, you can sign up to use for free down in the description. The brand name I've come up with is Fizz Flare. For this one, it's going to be a chewing gum. And up in the typeface settings, what I can do is type in bubble, and that's going to show me a ton of fonts that have that kind of rounded, bubbly, playful style. I'm going to click through a couple of them so that I can figure out which one is going to market the best and be loud and think vibrant colors and things like that. I've decided on the Liquid Sun one for this one. And what I'm going to do is make 2 lines. You can quickly do that by holding the Alt or Option key and dragging. And then what I'm going to do is use a little bit of variety in the letters. So if I type a different uppercase or lowercase letter, you can see it changes. And as well, if I select one and I have the ligatures on and turn on all caps, you can see that some of the characters play together really, really cool. Then I'm going to put this on an angle like this. You can adjust your angle settings however you want. I'm going to put these just a little bit offset from each other on the angle. I think it's more reminiscent of that kind of loud Y2K kind of flashy momentum style. Then what I'm going to do is add an outline here. Over in the effects panel, you can add some block shadow, and you can play with your offset and your angle just like this. Stuff that would take you forever to do in something like Illustrator, you can do really, really fast here. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. So I have our kind of outlined faux shadow, our block shadow down there. And then what I'm going to do is add some bubble or fizz effect. So I've just added this circle right here, and I'm going to make this kind of this darker gray, or this towards the darker gray. I'm going to give it a border weight, and then you're going to notice that I'm going to try to do the same thing that's happening with the text. So if I make that border weight black, I make the inset or the object color white, I can add an object shadow and actually have the same offset setting. So you see over here, I can change whatever I want to be the exact color, and I can put in the exact angle that is the text that I use. So the block shadow works just for elements the same way that it does for text. Then I'm just duplicating it a couple times, and this kind of gives it that bubble fizz effect, like, you know, maybe like soda or something like that. Then what I'm going to do is actually duplicate the text. So I'm duplicating this text, and I am making the outline width be a lot higher, basically, because I want this to be emboldened. Basically, I want this to be completely surrounded. So I just sent that to the back. So there's 2 pieces of text there. One is behind, one is in front, and so you can see that outer border, that border width is behind. Then I just added a little circle star element to put there on the left. Now what we're going to do is look for some watermelon elements. And what I'm going to do with this is actually make a pattern. So I'm going to speed up quite heavily through this and kind of just talk about what I'm doing. I'm adding a mask here, and I'm adding the element to that mask so that I can create this cool kind of bordered packaging design. So this does take a little bit of tweaking. The wavy background is inspired by the pattern that's on watermelon shells, so I thought that'd be a cool idea than just using a solid color. That's kind of why I was doing that. And I wanted to continue that pattern in the rounded rectangular shape, so the shorter sides are meant to be solid green. So that's what that border for that outset is. Hey, real quick, if you're getting value out of this Y2K packaging tutorial, let me know by hitting the thumbs up button and then commenting down below. What do you think? What do you think of this Y2K trend over the last year to 2 years? Do you also see that it's kind of moved into packaging? Are you noticing this more when you're out in the store or you're shopping online? We'd love to know your thoughts about the Y2K style and how you're seeing it utilized. Don't forget to subscribe as well. We still see so many people watching our videos, but not a lot of them subscribing. Somewhere between 70 and 80% of you all watching the videos are not subscribed, and it would mean so much if you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It helps us make more videos, it helps us make more educational content, and it helps us make more tutorials just like this. So do me a favor, hit that, and let's get back to the tutorial. Then what I'm going to do is add some text boxes. You can see we've already played with our color here. I'm going with that pink and green, same thing that you saw in those references. I'm going to add a simple rounded text box, and this is where that kind of neo-brutalism inspiration is going to come into play. So what I'm going to do is make it the same green, and I'm going to give it a black border, okay? So any of these elements kind of by themselves might look a little bit strange, but when you start to put it together like this, they actually look pretty awesome. So what I can do with my text is bring that to the front. You can do that at any point by hitting the right button on your mouse, right clicking and bringing it to the front. Then I've added some more text, and this is what's going to be our chewing gum text. So that's what's clearly depicting what this product is, which is chewing gum. And then what I need to do is find a font that both complements but is still playful with the brand, and so I've decided on this one. It's called MERS. It's nice and bold, but it still has some kind of funness to the shapes, the sans serif shapes. And then I've just duplicated it again, holding the Alt or Option key and dragging. And then what we can do with this one is put our flavor. So I'm going to put watermelon, which is clearly depicted again by that pattern that's in the back. And I'm going to change this one to be white, so that way it just doesn't get lost, since we already have the black on the green there. And so now we have the black on the white for watermelon. I've just increased the border weight just a little bit. And now what we're going to do is fall in with a couple of different accent points, or kind of like catchword style elements that basically give you descriptions about the product. So for example, there's 8 pieces in this pack. Again, still using that kind of neo-brutalism super flat style, and we're kind of mixing flat with depth. So the text has a lot of depth to it, but the text that's in these shapes are super flat. Then over here, I'm using sugar-free. I've added that purple element, if you notice that. So we're hitting kind of all of the colors here, using our references as a guide. And then what we can do is make a pattern with our watermelon illustration. We have a ton in there. I just used this one. And then what I'm going to do is just go through and move these around to create the pattern, to give this not only some depth, but also just to complete and fill some space. Then what I'm going to do is make the text a gradient. So instead of that white, what I'm going to do is add the green, the lighter green, and I'm going to play with this so that it is just a little bit of a green to white gradient style, which I also did in the watermelon using the pink with just a slighter dark shade of pink. And it's just, again, it's a little bit more of that flat element style that you'd see in neo-brutalism. So here is our finalized chewing gum package design. I hope you had fun with this. If you were doing it by yourself, let us know what you think down in the comments, and we will see you in the next video.